ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जयो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Welcome to Bhakti Shastri class. Shri Shri Radha Govind ki jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. What we have studied in the last class, this is lesson 5 revision. Eligibility for accepting, practicing and advancing in the Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, that is explained in the chapter number 3, and the independent nature of the pure devotional service, where the person don't have to undergo atonement separately if he makes any mistake during the devotional service. It doesn't depend on anything. Then ISKCON's practice of claiming members from all sections of Western countries, irrespective of their birth or the place where they have born, or in which country, in which caste, all these things are irrespective when one receives the devotional service. That is, Srila Rupa Goswami has given this as the universal principle. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had disciples from all kinds of communities. Like Haridas Thakur has come from the Muslim community, and he has declared him as the Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur. So birth is not a problem. Only thing is, a person should have the faith. One should desire for chanting of the holy name, and this comes from the mercy of a devotee. Devotional service is independent of pious activity, because even if a person has not made any pious activity also, he will be able to receive the devotional service, because a devotee, if he shows the mercy on another person, a fallen conditioned soul, he will receive the devotional service or the opportunity to practice Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Today's lesson will be continuing to chapter number 6, 7, and 8. The chapter number 6 begins with the topic as how to discharge devotional service. Here, Rupa Goswami is going to explain every step or each and every point that we have to take care while practicing Krishna consciousness. Totally, he will explain 64 items What are the 64 rules and regulations that one has to follow? Those things will be explained. In the 6th chapter, all the 64 will be explained. And in the next coming chapters, they will be explained one by one later on with more details. This is how it is explained. In this present chapter, how to discharge devotional service, all the 64 items will be explained, or the overview will be seen. I'm sorry. The 7th chapter will be explaining about evidence regarding devotional principles. Then the 8th one is talking about the offenses which one has to avoid while performing devotional service. Then further considerations in the 9th chapter. Then 10th chapter will be techniques of hearing and remembering. 11th one, aspects of transcendental service. And then 12th will be continuation of the same. And at the last, that is the 13th one, is the most important. That is 5 potent forms of devotional service. These 5 potent forms, if a person follows, it is certain that he will advance in spirituality. So those 5 items, the major 5 items, will also be discussed. We will be seeing these things today also in brief. In further classes, it will be elaborated. So these are the 64 items. In that, it can be divided into 2 parts, primary and secondary, or additional. In the primary, there are 20, and there also we can divide into 2 parts, do's and don'ts, pravritti and nivritti. There are 10 things to be done, and 10 things one has to avoid. Additionally, we have remaining items of sadhana, and finally the 5 most potent items of sadhana makes it totally 64. The first 20, which are primary, they are the most important practice one has to take care. That is anukulyena, pratikulyena. One has to accept and one has to give up. Yeah, Shri Priya Sampath Mataji, you can read this.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
20 items, all very important. Without following the above mentioned 10 principles, one cannot properly elevate himself to the platform of sadhana bhakti or devotional service and practice. Altogether, Srila Rupa Goswami mentions 20 items and all of them are very important. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So sadhana means to practice or to achieve something. There is some goal and we are walking towards that goal. So this is the principle. Here principle means the goal and rules are like the path. We want to reach certain goal, that is getting the love of Godhead, and path is given here. These are the devotional service items, the 64 items which are explained. Now, what is the principle we should understand? What is the reason behind giving these rules and regulations must be understood. As we will be seeing in the Upadeshamrita, one should not do niyamagraha or niyama agraha. That means following the rules and regulations without understanding its principle is not recommended. Why it is told so, that has to be understood, and then one has to practice these rules and regulations which are explained. That is the thing which we have to keep in mind while following the sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti is the beginning stage. And in the last class, we have seen the adhikara, Kanishta adhikari, Madhyama adhikari, and Uttama adhikari. Even Kanishta adhikari is also not ordinary because he has got the opportunity to serve the Lord. Even though his faith is very weak, or there are chances of fall down, but still these Kanishta adhikaris also, they are more than any other person in the society who has not connection with the devotional activity. So that is the Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttama Adhikari. So once the person gets this adhikara or the opportunity to serve the Lord, he can continue. And when he continues this devotional service more and more, he will become more and more fixed in the devotional service. Unless without that, one cannot advance, or he will remain wherever he is. Shri Hari Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam. 20 items, all are very important. Out of the 20, the first 3, namely accepting the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, taking initiation from him, and serving him with respect and reverence, are the most important. Nectar of Devotion, page 54. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Mataji. I request all of you to open the book with page number 54 or 53, whichever chapter, whichever page in which chapter 6 begins. How to discharge devotional service. There may be some difference, 1 or 2 pages. In that, if you see there, Srila Prabhupada is giving the summary of Nectar of Devotion, in which Rupa Goswami is saying that Sanatana Goswami, that is Rupa Goswami's elder brother, he has written a book called Hari Bhakti Vilasa. It is used for guidance of Vaishnavas for following the rules and regulations, how to practice Krishna consciousness. But that is more detailed book. But Rupa Goswami, what he is explaining here, this is very brief. If we go to Hari Bhakti Vilasa, the explanation that is given for practicing devotional service, it is more elaborate than what is given here. So that is the continuation what Prabhupada is talking here. Okay, that will be talked later. So that is the point here. After that, in the next paragraph, Rupa Goswami starts listing all the 64 items. If you see the page numbers, first he will list 10, then again he will give the 10, then remaining 44. It is numbered in that way. It is not numbered as 1 to 64 continuously. Srila Prabhupada has listed first 10 items together, that is do's, what is to be done. Then in the next paragraph, he has given next 10 instructions, that is totally makes 20. And in the next continuation, that is after 2 paragraphs, he continuously listed 44 items together, altogether. So 10 plus 10 plus 44, it will make 64 items. Now here is a group activity regarding these 20 items. We'll make 4 groups. It is 4 here. Group 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 to 4 will be group 1, 5 to 9 group 2, 10 to 14 group 3, and 15 to 18 up to 20. It is group 4. Okay, kindly see the point number 1. The first 3 are very, very important. First one is accepting the shelter of the lotus feet of a bona fide spiritual master. Accepting spiritual master is the most important part of devotional life. Without a spiritual master, it is not possible to begin devotional service. So one must have a spiritual master. Even great acharyas and even Lord Sri Krishna also has given this example. When Krishna came here as a cowherd boy, and after he went back to Mathura, he accepted Sandipani Muni as his guru. or spiritual master, and under him he has taken the study. It was not necessary for him because he can learn the subjects. You don't have to learn the subjects because he is the person who has taught the first person, that is Brahma. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye Muhyanti Yat Surayah. Bhagavatam says, you are the person who gave the knowledge to Brahma, Lord Brahma. Brahma has learned from you and you don't have to learn from anyone. But to give an example, Krishna has accepted a spiritual master. To give an example, Lord Rama accepted a spiritual master. To give an example, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted a spiritual master. So whatever great a person may be, or whatever advanced situation one may be, it is most important to accept a spiritual master with which a person can begin the devotional service. Then coming to the second one, becoming initiated by the spiritual master and learning how to discharge devotional service from him. So accepting spiritual master is not a fashion. It is for purification. Some people accept spiritual master just for the sake of saying, whose disciple you are, I am the disciple of such and such person. That's it. That's the beginning, that's the end. They don't go further. This is not a fashion, just to accept someone as a spiritual master and forget. Okay, I have accepted him, or I have taken the initiation, formalities are over. Now I am busy with my own business. That is not the purpose of taking initiation. So second point says that one should get initiated by the spiritual master and one should learn how to discharge devotional service. That is the purpose. Otherwise, it is meaningless. Because the Srila Prabhupada used the word initiation. This is also very perfect translation. Generally, we say in Sanskrit as Diksha. Diksha means to begin. Otherwise, people think that Diksha means the end. I have done so much of devotional service. Finally, I got the initiation from my spiritual master. Okay, I have succeeded now. No, that is the beginning. Now you have officially begun your devotional service. This is not the end. So there is nothing to feel proud about. Okay, yeah, definitely getting the mercy of a spiritual master is a very glorious moment, but that is not to become proud because of that, or feelings of some achievement. One has to achieve something after initiation, after getting initiated, or after getting the guidance from the spiritual master. Third one is obeying the orders of the spiritual master with faith and devotion. Accept the order of the spiritual master. What Prabhupada has told, you have to chant 16 rounds and follow 4 regulative principles, read Prabhupada's books, and after reading, one has to implement in his own life and teach the same to others as well. Learn and teach, practice and make others also follow. That is how this Krishna consciousness movement is spreading. That is the prime instruction to all the people, all the devotees who are in ISKCON. In ISKCON, we have many Diksha Gurus, many people are taking the advantage of the many sannyasis. But the main principle is this one. One has to chant 16 rounds and one has to read Srila Prabhupada books. One has to follow 4 regulative principles. There is no compromise in these principles. That is the third one, obeying the orders of the spiritual master. So these 3 makes the most important 3 items in the devotional service. And then other than that, there are 7 more items that one can read. I hope you all have read this 2 pages. I have given it as a reading activity. Now let us do the group activity. So I'll share it again. There will be 4 groups. 1 to 4, the principals 1 to 4 will be group 1. 5 to 9 is group 2. That is do's, and 10 also. 10 to 1 to 10 is do's, and from 11 to 20 is don't. So from 10 to 14 group 3, and 15 to 20 group 4. Hope this is clear for all. If anybody has any questions in regard to the activity, they can raise their hand. They can directly unmute themselves and ask the question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, ma'am.
Prabhuji, this is 15 to 18 and 20. How about 19?
It is included, Mataji. Maybe something.
Okay. Sure, Prabhuji. Yeah. Thank you. Hare
Hare.
Krishna.
Please note down the numbers. Okay, you have 5 minutes for discussion and 2 minutes for presentation. The time starts now. Hare Krishna. Welcome back to the discussion. So those who like to present can raise their hands. Yeah, Deepti Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pranam. Prabhuji, I'll just close the video. I think there is some trouble in that.
Yeah, you'll have to put off your video.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, we are from group 4. Me, Shri Priya Mataji, and Radha Vallabhi Mataji, we were there, and we discussed these points. So, the points that we have received are from point number 15 to 20. And this is the list of the instructions which we are not supposed to do. We are not supposed to follow. We should ensure that these are not the practices which are to be followed. So don't. So the point which we have received is like starting with one should not be neglectful in ordinary dealings. So when we talk about this, we are understanding it as that whenever we have the association with the devotees, or even whenever we see any of the devotees, we should always we should offer obeisances to them. And when we see our gurus, we should always offer Dandvat Pranams. So these are the various etiquettes and the behavior that we should always ensure that how we are following. Then one should, next is the one should not be under the spell of lamentation in loss or jubilation in gain. So one of the example that we would like to quote here is that of Srivas Thakur, that when he was at home and he was chanting, there was congregational chanting that was going on at his home with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also. He was there and he received the news that his son has died. So it is like the person is Brahmabhut, he's like Brahmabhut Prasannatma, he's always equipoised. And even in the loss or in jubilation, in gain, if we receive any, we shouldn't always be satisfied actually in life. We should not lament in loss, or we should not feel very happy in case of gains, because that we should understand that it will happen. We are in the material world. So we have to stay equipoised. The next point is also very important. One should not disrespect the demigods, because demigods are authorized administrators. They are empowered administrators. They are already in the service of the Lord. And not only that, we should always offer due respects to all of them, because when we do so, we understand we are associating and we are looking at them in association with the Lord. Like, for example, when we talk about Lord Shiva, he is Vaishnava Nam Yatha Shambhu. He's one of the highest, purest Vaishnavas. And I would like to share the incident that recently we had Shivratri. And when I went to ISKCON here in London, they were celebrating Shivratri. They had made the arrangements to offer milk to Lord Shiva. And how they were celebrating is like they said that he is one of the purest devotee. He is the purest Vaishnava, not even devotee. The purest Vaishnava is what they were quoting. And they were offering, people were coming and offering their obeisances. So the outlook is like, it's not that we deny anything. As NND Prabhuji also says, we have to jodna nahi hai. Todna nahi hai, jodna hai. We have to add, we have to include everything. So this is one of the important points, that even if it is we should offer respect to every living entity, considering that the Lord is situated in their heart as Paramatma, because everyone is a part and parcel, eternal fragmental part and parcel of the Lord. So this is one of the points. Then we have we should not give unnecessary trouble to any living entity. So again, as we see, when we see every living entity that he is the eternal part and parcel of the Lord, automatically our feelings change, because we associate everyone with the Lord. So this is one of the important points. We should really not trouble anyone. So, and everyone is Lord's child only. Lord is our father. So it's like every living entity is his child. So all of us are associated in a way. So this is one of the important points. Then Nama Pradha, we should be careful avoiding the various offenses in chanting the holy name of the Lord or in worshipping the deity in the temple. So since these will be covered later, but one of the important points is we should always ensure that we are doing our chanting. Like if 16 rounds of chanting is one of, this is something, one of the instructions of Prabhupada ji, of our bona fide spiritual master. So This is something that we should follow, and we should really not be negligible in this. We should not carry it forward to the next day. We should try to ensure, if it is possible, that we should complete it on that day itself. So this is one of the important points. And one should be the last one is, Prabhuji, one should be very intolerant towards blaspheming of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So here, the person should be tolerant. Like, for example, if a person is not agreeing to the conclusions of the scriptures, that if the person is not agreeing to accepting the Lord as Lord Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead, we should try to either fight back, or we should try to move away. We should try to walk away from that place, because we should really not try to accept that particular thing. So this is one of the important things, that these are the ones, like the person should be equipoised, and we should always have these are the ones, Prabhuji. That's it. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
The last point, 20th one, it is like not only while giving, somebody is not accepting the Lord, but also somebody who is trying to blaspheme the Lord, as also the devotees of the Lord. If they are some blasphemy, one should leave that place immediately. If not, the person will fall down. So that is the 20th point here. There are many things one can do, but this is the one rule, that principle that is told: better to leave that place, just close the ears and leave the place. When Shishupala was blaspheming Lord Shri Krishna, there were many people gathered. Some people, they opposed Shishupala. They opposed all the arguments of Shishupala, and they tried to prove how Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and how he is supreme, how he is great. And some people, they took their weapons and tried to attack Shishupala. And there are some people, they just closed their ear and left the place. So these are the different ways how people have reacted. In general, if a person is good enough in argument, he can take up that point and he can argue with them, and they can defeat them. That is one thing. When there was one person who tried in argument, he came to Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami for argument, but Rupa Sanatana, they just don't want to waste their time in argument. So they told, you accept we are defeated and you can go. But Jiva Goswami, he came and he argued with him, and he defeated both of defeated that person, and he established. That is not possible for all. So in general, it is told that one should just close his ears and walk away from that place. Otherwise, in extreme case, what happens when Diti, Sati went to the arena of Daksha, she could not see Lord Shiva is being insulted. And what she did, she just gave up her life. That is the extreme case, which is not recommended for ordinary people like us. It is not possible. So what is recommended is just close your eyes, don't hear anything, don't listen anything. Just by doing so, we are telling them that what they are doing is wrong. That is enough from our side. We are not supporting their arguments, or we are not supporting their blasphemy. So that these things will be in detail, we will be discussing in the further chapters. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Sarita Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
So, yeah, from group 2, myself, Deeparani Mataji, and Kiruba Shankar Prabhuji, and Harini Devi Mataji, and Hemant Prabhuji. So what we discussed from point 5 to point 10, Prabhuji, the do's.
Yeah.
So the 5th one, inquiring from spiritual master how to advance in Krishna consciousness. So basically like anything, like the direct spiritual master is not accessible to us, then we can approach to any senior Vaishnavas or our Siksha Gurus. So if we are facing any problem, it could be like I'm not able, if we are not able to get up early in the morning, it could be in Brahma Muhurta, or how to disassociate from materialistic people, how to distance, or this can be everyday, day-to-day problems we may face. So those things, maybe ourselves, it may be difficult for us initially to find solutions, but we can always approach a senior Vaishnavas and our Shiksha Gurus, and we can ask this from them. So inquiring from them. And also when we read Prabhupada books, also many times we get answers for whatever doubts we have. We get Prabhupada's instructions in that. So in that way, Vani and Vapu, what we say, right, through that we can uh, uh, take the instructions of a spiritual master. And sixth one, being prepared to give up anything material for the satisfaction of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. This means that when we are engaged in devotional service of Krishna, we must be prepared to give up something which we may not like to give up, and also we have to accept something which we may not like to accept. So this is like we know, like there are so many rules and regulations apart from the four regulative principles, like and one should not take tea, coffee, and leaving onion, garlic, and these things. So these all we do. We have accepted voluntarily because we want to please Krishna, and not going to movies or like restaurants, like how we used to go earlier. Right. I mean, so those things we are avoiding consciously. So because we know that that will be an obstruction for us in devotional service. So as far as possible, we avoid that. And also not only that, and yeah, maybe it could be going to movies, or even associating with materialistic friends, or to go out. So these association need to be reduced. So that one. And residing in a sacred place of pilgrimage like Dwaraka and or Vrindavana. So this is very highest, because no one is in this platform to go and stay there. But then we can take a inspiration from Sanatana Goswami, where I remember, so he was actually working for a Mohammedan, in a Mohammedan's government. But then he had made his house like a Vrindavan. It is said, like in his inside his home, he had made it in a such a way, and he used to read every day Bhagavatam Katha and do the kirtans. So in a way, like we can also, by reading like Krishna book, because most of the Krishna pastimes is in Vrindavan. So in that way, our mind and our conscious can be in Vrindavan, though we physically it may not be possible for us, but whenever possible we can, when there is a yatra. So we have to endeavor at least, and we have to try to be in the association of devotees, and we should join for such yatras. And accepting only what is necessary, or dealing with the material world only as far necessary. So this the same thing. So as only when it comes to related to work, or I mean, we cannot be like indifferent, of course, because otherwise even people may we will not be able to tell about Krishna conscious also, if we are completely avoiding, or we are becoming indifferent to them. So we have to make sure that it is not going like off the road, or I mean, the discussions doesn't go beyond I mean, it is not just talking about rumors, or which is not helping me in anything. So if it is related to any education or work related, that we can always have. But Padma Patram Ivam Basa, like what Krishna says, so that principle we have to apply here. And last one, observing the fasting day on Ekadashi. So basically we do this fasting because as per instruction of acharyas, because only those days Ekadashi is a it is scientifically also it is good to do on that day, and basically we do for pleasing Krishna. So to please the Lord, and Krishna will be very pleased when we do on that day. And also one way it is, when you're doing Ekadashi, mind is not hovering about like thinking about food or anything, because we know that that day I'm fasting, so that day we can dedicate something for reading and chanting more rounds. So yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare.
Yeah, the one point is Sadharma Pricha. Here asking or inquiring from the Guru. So there are two things. One is blind following or absurd enquiry. Both should be avoided. Blind following means spiritual master has told something and I'm just following it. I don't know what is the principle behind it. That should not happen. One should ask the question, why this is so, or what is the benefit, why we have to do this. In case if we are not understood, one should ask. At the same time, one should not ask any question like how our question should be like, if we are in the Shraddha level, we should ask the question within that Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti. Within that level, we should ask the question. We should not ask, being in the position of Shraddha and Sadhu Sangha, if we are asking question about Bhava and Prema, that is absurd inquiry. It is not necessary at this point. Just like a first standard child, it is asking something like, after degree, which job should I take? That is too much for that particular period. This we can see in many people. They are asking about Bhava and Prema at the level, how the person will feel. And when do I come to know that I am in Bhava? So this kind of question, this will be too much. This should not be asked. So here inquiry means one should inquire which is relevant, which is useful in practicing Krishna consciousness. I'm not able to chant attentively. My mind is wandering. So how can I chant attentively? This is a good question that can be answered, but not like Bhava stage, how to achieve that, or how to cross Bhava stage and go to Prema, what will be the characteristics. And these things are not elaborately discussed at this point of time. It is told, when you are hungry, you eat some food. And after that, once you become satisfied, you yourself will come to know. So there is nobody has to come and tell you. So when you are advanced to that level, you yourself will feel that you have advanced in the practice of Krishna consciousness. There is no separately another person need not come to tell you that we are at this point. And always a advanced devotee feels that he is the most lowest person, because that is the humble position the person will take. So we cannot distinguish. Now we are studying about sadhana bhakti, and next we will be studying about raganuga sadhana, Vaidhi sadhana and raganuga. Now you cannot find out who is a Vaidhi sadhaka and who is a raganuga sadhaka, because a person, even if he has come to the raganuga sadhaka state, he will still behave like a Vaidhi sadhaka only. He will not advertise himself, or he will not show himself to be raganuga sadhaka. Always the person remains as a humble servant of the Lord, and he will become an example for everyone. That is the one. And yeah, these are the things which has to be followed in the devotional service. Okay, next one, Shri Hari Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. In our group, there was Sureshwari Priya Mataji, Muralidhar Prabhu, and Pradosh Hota Prabhu along with them. And we will be discussing the four basic principles, which are the key principles which are to be followed. The first is accepting the shelter of the lotus feet of a bona fide spiritual master. So as it is, we know that the bona fide spiritual master is why is it important for us to take the shelter is because, as it is mentioned, Dhru Krishna Rupa Hane Shastri Pramane Guru Rupe Krishna Kripa Karane Bhakta Gane. That means that the Guru or the spiritual master himself is the representative of the Lord Sri Krishna. It is he who can deliver us the Lord to us. And as it is mentioned also then we say that Brahmana Brahmite Kone Bhagyavaji Guru Krishna Prapapaye Bhakti Lata Bij. That means our devotional service, it can only appropriately flourish under the guidance of a spiritual master, because he himself has Tattva Darshina, which is mentioned in the shloka of like Bhagavad Gita. Shri Krishna himself has mentioned Tad Vidhi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya Ubdekshanti Te Jnanam Jnaninas Tattva Darshina. Because the Guru has already experienced the Guru Tattva and he knows the Krishna Tattva in himself. That's why it is he who has known can deliver the same thing to you, because we are unknown, we are ignorant. But Guru has been there, he has experienced that particular thing. So that is how he facilitates it for us by holding our hand. Then the second point, which is very important, is becoming initiated by the spiritual master and learning how to discharge devotional service unto him. Since Guru, like when we go for initiation, it is a process by which we associate formally in the Guru Parampara system. Because the Guru Parampara system is also important, because we cannot just go and take a shelter of any Guru. The Guru or the spiritual master which falls onto a parampara is extremely important, because there is a pedigree where it is clearly established what are the right ways and how it will progress and help us in our devotional service. So this Pramanic Guru under the Guru Shishya Parampara is equally important. Like we all have been following now the Madhav Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, where we are all like, when we associate ourselves with ISKCON, we slowly and steadily progress on a path of first we take aspire, then we take shelter, then we go for initiation. Initiation is like embarking on our fully Krishna conscious journey in a very authentic and a proper way, where the probabilities of falling down is reduced, because Lord Sri Prabhupada has already told that you can hold a piece of my dhoti and I will deliver you to Lord Sri Krishna. So that is the way we should hold our spiritual master in, because the spiritual master is actually a representation of God Sri Krishna and he will deliver him to us. Then the third point is obeying the orders of the spiritual master with faith and devotion. This is very important, because by obeying the orders of a spiritual master, we get cleansed, our sinful reactions are nullified, and our progress in devotional service keeps on happening in the right direction. Also, like for example, I will say that Sri Namanishta Das Prabhuji has devised a strategy, 18 days, then going further for second level, third level, fourth level. So what has happened is, any neophyte who joins with a little bit of faith also, slowly and steadily, progressively elevates to a higher level of Krishna consciousness. And he was also guided by his spiritual master, Sri Jayaprataka Swami Mahaguru Maharaj Ji. So in this way, what happens is, when we follow and obey the orders of a spiritual master, gradually it is not only us, but the whole society, we are slowly and steadily adding everyone into the main bandwagon of Krishna consciousness. Then the fourth point is following in the footsteps of great acharyas, teachers under the direction of the spiritual master. So for this, I would like to quote example is when we started Guru His Holiness Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada has mentioned that you should do minimum 64 chanting of rounds. Though his Guru Maharaj told him 64 rounds, but he considered the contemporary and the relevant effectiveness of it in the modern society, and he told that at least do minimum 16 rounds. Then I assure you that I will deliver you. That is the beauty of the spiritual master. He takes away all our sinful reactions and ensures that we reach to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavad Dham. So he gave us 16 rounds of chanting, 4 regulative principles. So through our Shiksha Gurus, who are various different Shiksha Gurus, they guide us how to follow those regulative principles. And whenever we get confused or we are deterred by the Maya or the worldly material desires, they help us to gradually progress. So in this way, I would like to say that the importance of the spiritual master is humongous in spiritual development and the upliftment of our devotional service. Also, we have been following, like Sri Rupa Goswami has given us, like great Acharya Sri Rupa Goswami has given us how to divide our earnings. 50% we should give to the Vaishnavas or for Lord Sri Krishna, then 25% for our relatives and friends, and then 25% for our contingencies and emergency for ourselves. So this was a very good formula which was devised for all the Vaishnavas who want to progress in spiritual development and Krishna consciousness. And similarly, this particular aspect of having a spiritual master is like having a focused, guided hand who will ensure that you reach your ultimate destination of Golok Vrindavan Dham. Otherwise, many people, when they have their own individual Krishna conscious journey, they don't know where they will reach because they don't have a proper guide. It is like a signboard. Spiritual master is as crucial as a signboard who takes us to the right destination of Lord Sri Krishna's lotus feet. That's all, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you. Karunamaya Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, everybody. So, So we were in group 3. Rakshita Mataji and Giridhari Gopal and Jayanti Mataji. So we were 4 people in one group. So we were 4 people in one group, and sorry, just reading here. And we had points from 10 to 14. So 10s, worshipping sacred trees like banyan tree. One should rigidly give up the company of non-devotees. One should not instruct a person who is not desirous of accepting devotional service. And one should not be very enthusiastic about constructing costly temples or monasteries. And one should not try to read too many books, nor should one develop the idea of earning his livelihood by lecturing on or professionally reciting Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. So, point number 10, worshipping sacred tree like banyan tree. So we don't worship banyan tree, but we worship other sacred trees like Tulsi. So we worship the Tulsi in morning and in evening. Some devotees do puja and other devotees sing kirtan, and then devotees also circumambulate around Tulsi, and it is said that all sins of a person who is circumambulating around Tulsi is eradicated with each and every his step. So in this way, we worship 2 sacred trees like Tulsi. So next, one should rigidly give up the company of non-devotees. So we heard that when we came after practice of Krishna consciousness, we have to give up the company of non-devotees, but we could not completely understand that. And then after some time, we gave up. So we need to rigidly give up the company of non-devotees because they have their own values. We have our own values. So it is better to make friendship with devotees, and man is known by the company he keeps. So man is known by the company he keeps. And we also can take inspiration from devotees. They can teach us a lot of nice things about Krishna consciousness, and we also can develop qualities which they have. 12, sorry. One should not instruct a person who is not desirous of accepting devotional service. So I think it is also non-devotee. So a person who doesn't want to do devotional service, we should not force him. Maybe we should better to leave him. His time didn't come to enter into Krishna consciousness. One should not be very enthusiastic about constructing costly temples or monasteries. So we also construct temple, but this point doesn't match with our situation because we are constructing temple, but it is not very costly, and the purpose is different. Purpose is different because here person just want to construct costly temple and live in luxury and don't do anything. Our purpose is different. One should not try to read too many books, nor should one develop the idea of earning his livelihood by lecturing on or professionally reciting Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. So some people earn for living by reciting Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Like Bhagavata reciters, like Srila Prabhupada also met them in Vrindavana. So we should not do like that. If we recite Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, we should do it in a selfless way, so that, of course, without charge, in a selfless way, just to make other people understand Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. If we need to get money, then we should use other methods. Hare Krishna, Project, Hare Krishna, thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Yeah, regarding the reading too many books, as Prabhupada told, if you are able to read Prabhupada books at least 6 times, then after that you can read some other books. Because reading Prabhupada books, all the books together, it will take one lifetime. And if you are reading it for 6 times, then if you still have time, you can read some other books. Because that is the necessity. Prabhupada has given everything in his book. And even if you ask some other Sampradaya people, if they see Prabhupada books, they say that these books are like, it is having everything. If you want to know some principle, some conclusions, otherwise you have to read too many books and come to the conclusion. And it takes so many years of research. But Prabhupada has given it so easily in the purpose, you will get directly. Just read complete Bhagavad Gita once, Bhagavad Gita as it is. If you read once, all the doubts will be cleared. There are many people who just joined ISKCON by reading Bhagavad Gita once. They just completely dedicated their life. That is the magic of Srila Prabhupada books. As Prabhupada says, these books are dictated by Krishna himself. It is not written by me. So that is the most important point. And constructing big temples, like it is the service that a devotee takes, but it should not become at the cost of his devotional service, because constructing a temple, it requires a lot of hard work. It has to be done with a service attitude, and these temples which we are constructing will be like education centers. They will be used for educating the people in the topics of Krishna consciousness, and more people will get the opportunity to serve the Lord. That is the good point about it. It will act like a oasis in the desert of this material world. The temple is like, if you have seen, we say the if you want to go to some other country, we will go to the visa. We will get the visa, and what is it called? Ambassador's place, embassy. In that embassy, if you see, all the things are of that country. If you have in India, the embassy of America means everything will be of America there. It is told if a thief gets into this embassy, then Indian police has to call the American people, or they have to get permission from them, then only they can enter into that embassy and catch him. They cannot directly go and our law will not work there. Similarly, the temple is like spiritual world. So whatever is there within the temple, it belongs to Krishna, and Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is worshipped there. So it is as good as the spiritual world which is present. Whoever enters that place, he will get the opportunity to serve the Lord. So that is even true for the Dhamma, or the pastimes places of Lord, where we can feel the presence of the Lord. It is not that Lord is not present in other places, but we have no capacity to see him. Just like the radio signal is everywhere, it is around us also. But if you want to hear, you need the device. Otherwise, you can't hear. Similarly, these temples, they will facilitate to understand the Lord. So that is the most important point, the benefit we get from the temples. But at the same time, Prabhupada is warning, one should not over endeavor in constructing the temple at the cost of his personal devotional service. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Sureshwar Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I am in the first group. Every point has been discussed by Sri Haripriya Mataji. I just want to add few lines. Just like certain Sanskrit words are given as a translation for these 20 points. So the 4 points I'll just tell you. First one is Guru Padashraya. So taking the shelter of the lotus feet of the Guru or Gauranga, that is Guru Padashraya. And second one is taking Diksha and all, that is Shri Krishna Dikshadi Shikshanam. One can take Diksha from the Guru of, that is a spiritual master. And third one is we have to do the service to the lotus feet of Guru, and for that Preeti Purvaga Guru or Seva. That is because all this we learned when we did the second or third levels. So I had noted this point, so I just remembered I am telling you. And fourth one is Sadhu Marganu Sara. Sadhu Marganu Sara. That is following the principles of the senior devotees. But in this case, we have to remember one thing: we should only follow their footsteps. We are not supposed to imitate them. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you. Hare Krishna. So this also comes in the next coming chapters. What is the difference between following or imitating? Anukarana and Anusarana. These things also will be discussed. One should follow, understanding the principles, but one should not imitate. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji.
Okay, we'll have Kirtan now. Who is doing Kirtan now?
Sarita Mataji is doing.
Yeah, please, Mataji. I'll make you the co-host.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have one doubt. The out of the all the 64, the 7th, 36th, and 44th seems to be the almost same.
Yeah, we'll discuss about that. Yes, Mataji. In the next, after this Kirtan, we do that.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sachi Sutashtakam, author Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. नव कौरवरं नव पुष्पशरं नव भावदरं नव लास्यपरं नव हास्यकरं नव हेमवरं प्रणमामि सचीसुत गौरवरं प्रणमामि सचीसुत गौरवरं प्रणमामि सचीसुत गौरवरम् नव प्रेमयुतं नवनीतसुचं नव वेशकृतं नव प्रेमरसं नवधा विलसच्छुभ प्रेममयं प्रणमामि सचीसुत गौरवरं प्रणमामि सचीसुत गौरवरं प्रणमामि सचीसुत गौरवरम् हरिभक्ति परं हरिनामधरं करजप्यकरं हरिनाम परं नयने सततं प्रणयाश्रुधरं प्रणमामि सचीसुत गौरवरं प्रणमामि सचीसुत गौरवरं प्रणमामि सचीसुत गौरवरम् सततं जनता भवतापहरं परमार्थपरायण लोकगतिं नवलेहकरं जगतापहरं प्रणमामि सचीसुत गौरवरं प्रणमामि सचीसुत गौरवरं प्रणमामि सचीसुत गौरवरम् निज भक्तिकरं प्रिय चातुरतं नटनार्तन नागर राजकुलं कुलकामिनि मानसलास्यकरं प्रणमामि सचीसुत गौरवरं प्रणमामि सचीसुत गौरवरं प्रणमामि सचीसुत गौरवरं करतालवलं कलकान्तरवं मृदुवाद्यसुवीनिकया मधुरं निज भक्तिगुणावृतनाट्यकरं प्रणमामि सचीसुत गौरवरं प्रणमामि सचीसुत गौरवरं प्रणमामि सचीसुत गौरवरं युगधर्मयुतं पुनरनन्दसुतं धरणीसुचितं भवभावोचितं तनुध्यानचितं निजवासुयुतं प्रणमामि सचीसुत गौरवरं प्रणमामि सचीसुत गौरवरं Pranamami Sachi Sutta Gauravaram Arunam Nayanam Charanam Vasanam Vadane Shakti Vadane Shaklitam Swakanamadaram Kurute Surasam Jagata Jivanam Pranamami Sati Sutta Gauravaram Pranamami Sati Sutta Gauravaram Pranamami Sati Sutta Gauravaram. Translation. His complexion is the hue of fresh cream tinged with kumkum. He is the ever-fresh Cupid who shoots arrows of new blossoming flowers. He bears newer and newer moods of emotional ecstasies. He is fond of performing novel dances. He makes ever new joke about that cause much laughter. His brilliant luster is like freshly cast gold. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He is endowed with ever fresh love of Godhead. His radiant luster is like the color of fresh butter. His fresh attire is arranged in ever new fashions. He relishes ever new mellows of love for Krishna. He shines in ninefold new ways while executing the ninefold process of devotion. He is permeated with the most auspicious loving nature. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He is absorbed in devotion to Sri Hari. He maintains the chanting of the names of Hari. While chanting, he counts the holy names on the fingers of his hands. He is addicted to the name of Hari. He always has tears of love welling in his eyes. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He is always removing the suffering of material existence for mankind. He is the goal of life for persons who are dedicated to their supreme interest. He inspires men to become like honey bees, eager for the honey of Krishna Prema. He removes the burning fever of the material world. I bow down to Gaura, this beautiful son of Madasachi. He motivates pure devotion unto himself. He is the most attractive to his beloved servitors. By his dramatic dancing, he exhibits the characteristics of the king of Paramas. He causes the mind of beautiful young village women to dance. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Madasachi. He plays kartals at his throat amid sweet melodious sounds, and the vibrant notes of the veena are softly played. He thus inspires the devotees to perform dramatic dancing that is infused with aspects of his own devotional service. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Madasachi. He is accompanied by the Sankirtana movement, which is the religious practice for the age of Kali. He is the son of Nanda Maharaj, come again. He is the extraordinary, brilliant ornament of the earth. His preaching mood is suitably adapted to the cycle of birth and death. His consciousness is fixed in meditation on his own form of Krishna. He is always accompanied by his transcendental abode. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. His eyes, the soles of his feet, and his clothing are reddish like the color that heralds the rising sun. He utters his own names, his voice falters, he awakens a sweet flavor to life throughout the universe. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, let us hear from Srila Prabhupada regarding the points which we have discussed till now. Those who would like to read can raise their hand. Yeah, Radha Vallabi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. 20 items are very important. The regulative principle of devotional service enjoins that all of our senses must be employed in the service of the Lord. Exactly how they can be thus employed is described in the above 24 items. Now Srila Rupa Goswami will give evidence from different scriptures supporting the authenticity of many of these points. Nectar of Devotion, page 57. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So what is the point in explaining so many items of devotional service is to keep us always engaged. Why Srila Prabhupada has made so many activities? It is to keep all the devotees engaged. We should engage our mind in the service of the Lord. Otherwise, the mind will engage us in the materialistic thoughts. That is the main principle we should understand. Because this mind is restless. It cannot stay in one place. Even while we are sleeping in the night also, the mind is always awake. It will think, it will do something, or it will be roaming in some dreams. So it is always active. It's a very powerful tool, the mind, but if it is not given right direction, it can destroy us. So we have so many activities in the temple. We have the kirtans, we have arti, and we have book distribution and festivals. We have Rath Yatra, and people are giving the service of cooking or decorating the deities, or cleaning the temple, cleaning the vessels, and painting the Lord's pastimes. There are n number of services available in the temple. Whatever a person may be good at, he can use it in the service of the Lord. Just like there are many fashion designers, so many Matajis, they were doing fashion earlier, wearing so many different kinds of clothes, and it was like a servant of Maya. But when they came to Krishna consciousness, they started designing the dress for the Lord. So that is the difference that it has made. So that activity, if it is not present, or if they are not engaged, then there are chances that the person will again go back to the old habits, or he will be lacking. That energy is not being used. Any energy which is not used in the service of the Lord, definitely it will be used in the service of Maya, because the mind is just want to engage. So that is the one of the reason why we have so many activities, so many varieties in the devotional service, because everyone cannot be fit in one place. Some people like to read Prabhupada books more and more and understand the topics, and somebody may be interested in going out and spreading Krishna consciousness and participating in kirtans. So in this way, there are different types of people. And next point here, second point is supporting the authenticity. This Nectar of Devotion is the book which is like the law book of devotional life, devotional service. So Prabhupada is going to give so many evidences in the chapter number 7, just like he has given in the chapter number 4, as Rupa Goswami has given in the chapter number 4, the evidences to prove that liberation is not the ultimate. It is the law of Godhead which is the goal of devotee. Similarly, in this 7th chapter, he is going to give evidences for the points which we have discussed till now. Next, Sarita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Principle and detail. The purport of this statement is that Srila Rupa Goswami proposes to mention only basic principles, not details. For example, a basic principle is that one has to accept his spiritual master. Exactly how one follows the instruction of his spiritual master is considered a detail. From Nectar of Devotion, page 53. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So this is the sentence which is taken from the beginning of 6th chapter, the first paragraph. What we have read at the beginning of today's class, as it is told, Sanatana Goswami has compiled Hari Bhakti Vilasa, and in that all the detailed explanation is there. And after that, Rupa Goswami is telling this book is giving only the principles. It's not giving the complete details. So for that, Srila Prabhupada is writing this. Purport is that Rupa Goswami is mentioning the basic principles. Now, what is the difference between principles and details? The principles are like the compass. If you are going to somewhere, the compass will show where is your destination. The destination is in this point. Now, what is the detail? How to go there? You may not be able to take a straight line because of so many constraints. So you have to go through the path, or you have to go through the rules and regulations which are given in the scriptures to reach there. But you should not forget the principle. One should not get lost in the details. Getting lost in the details means one gets attached to the path itself. one will get attached to the following of rules and regulations itself without understanding what is the principle behind it. So that is the difference between principle and details. Now, let us continue to the chapter number 7. In which we have so many evidences for the points which we have studied just now. So this is the shloka which is given in Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto, 3rd chapter, 21 shloka number. Accepting the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. Tasmad gurum prapadyeta jidnyasu shreya uttamam shabde parecha nishnatam brahmani upasamashrayam. Therefore, any person who seriously desires real happiness must seek a bona fide spiritual master and take shelter of him by initiation. The qualification of a bona fide guru is that he has realized the conclusions of the scriptures by deliberation and is able to convince others of these conclusions. Such great personalities who have taken shelter of the Supreme Godhead, leaving aside all material considerations, should be understood to be a bona fide spiritual master. To understand who is a spiritual master, we will be learning in the Upadeshamrita or nectar of instruction in detail later on once again. These are some of the points that are given. There are 5 points. If somebody wants to accept a person as a spiritual master, Shri Hari Priya Mataji, you can read this.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Qualifications of a spiritual master: must have realized the conclusions of the scriptures by deliberation and argument, and thus be able to convince others of these conclusions. Must have taken shelter of the supreme law, leaving aside all material considerations. Should act according to scriptural injunctions, especially the principles of devotional service. Character is beyond doubt. Should have conquered the 6 sense gratifying agents. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Mr. These are the some points to be considered while choosing a spiritual master, which will be elaborately discussed in the nectar of instruction. Next, second point, Deepti Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Shri Krishna Dikshadi Shikshana. Accepting initiation from the spiritual master and receiving instructions from him. One should accept the spiritual master as the representative of God. One should learn Srimad Bhagavatam seriously and with all respect and revelations for the spiritual master. The attitude of the disciple should be to satisfy the spiritual master. For a person who has unflinching faith in God and the spiritual master, everything becomes revealed. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Next, Vishrambhena Guru Seva, that is serving the spiritual master with faith and confidence. This is also explained in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Lord Krishna himself is telling, Acharyam mam vijaniyan navamanyeta karhichit na martya buddhya shreyata sarva deva mayo guruhu. Where he says here, the Lord himself is telling, one should know the Acharya as myself and never disrespect him in any way. One should not envy him, thinking him an ordinary man, for he is the representative of all the demigods. So here, Lord Krishna is telling, one should not think that spiritual master is an ordinary person, because to our common eyes, everything looks same. The spiritual master also, his activities, he is also in a general activity. If you see, he is also taking prasadam like us, he is also walking like us, so he must be like us only. One should not think like that. He is the representative of Krishna himself, and one should not envy his position. The spiritual master is respected as good as Krishna himself. Just like an ambassador of a country, he will be given the same respect as that of the president, because he is the representative. Similarly, one should respect the spiritual master at the same level, and that respect what he is getting, one should not become envious of him by seeing that. So this is the warning the Lord is giving. One should not disrespect the spiritual master. Vishrambhena Guru Seva. One has to serve him with the faith and confidence. Now, Shri Priya Sampath Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Sadhu Vartamana Vartanam. Following in the footsteps of saintly persons. If one follows in the footsteps of the previous Acharya, one can achieve the desired result. Otherwise, one will not progress and will instead create a disturbance. Srila Jiva Goswami explains that Sadhu Vartatma, proper path, means the path composed of rules from the Shruti and the other scriptures, Sahajiyas and Buddhists. Example. Hare Krishna.
So the Sahajiyas and Buddhists, they are not following the footsteps of the saintly persons. They are only creating some, as Sahajiyas are like externally, they have the characters or the symptoms of a devotee, but internally they are not devotee. They are just making a show of the practice of this spirituality. Buddhists are, they have openly declared that Vedas or the Shastras are not authorized, or Nindasi Ajna Videraha Shruti Jatam, that Lord Buddha himself has told this. I don't care for this Vedas because people are misusing these Vedas in the name of the scriptures, and they are killing the animals. So he told Ahimsa Paramo Dharma. So these both are not the followers. These are the examples that is given. But one should follow the footsteps of previous acharyas, understanding the principles. Then continuing further, those who would like to read can raise their hand. Yeah, Deepti Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Sadharma Prichana. Inquiring about eternal religious principles. Bhog Adi Tyag Krishna Se Hetve. Being prepared to give up everything material for Krishna's satisfaction. 7th, Nivaso Dwarakadan Cha Gangader Api Sannidhav. Nivaso, residing in a sacred place. 8th point, Vyavahareshu Sarveshu Yavad Arthanu Varitita. Accepting only what is necessary. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So these are the different points that we have discussed. Next, Harivasara Sammano. This is the fasting on the day of Ekadashi, and Datri Ashwattha Gauravam. So here Datri Ashwattha, they are offering the respect to different trees and plants. Ashwattha tree, that is the people tree. Amalaki tree, that is Amla. You can see the difference, the common word. Amalaki is told in Sanskrit, and English we say Amla. It is so close. And Tulsi plant, offering respect to cow and Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. All these people, respecting all these people is a part of devotional service. And Sangatyaga, the company of non-devotees, has to be given up. There are two types of non-devotees. Avaishnava. There is a shloka that is one person who is against the supremacy of Krishna, and one is too much materialistic. Both has to be given up. It's given in Katyayani Samhita and Vishnu Rahasya. Then Shishyadi Anav Banditvam. That is, one should not accept too many disciples just for prestige, and one should not construct too many temples. Yes, these points are already discussed. And reading too many books, one should not read non-devotional book. One should not read at all. And the purpose behind reading the books is also important. Just for livelihood or just to defeat someone for use this argument, these things also not recommended. And not feeling unusable in material circumstances, that is not obtaining food or losing one's belongings. This is the first quote from the Padma Purana. That is the point number 15. Okay, this we have already discussed. And Shokadi Avasa Varpita. That is, a person knows that everything is in the under the control of the Lord. It is not so easy. The lamentation or illusion we sometimes come under, but still momentarily changes may happen, but one should come back to his consciousness. Anya Deva Navajna, one should not disrespect the demigods. At the same time, one should not worship the demigods equal to Krishna. That is also condemned in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And one should not give pain to the other living entities. Next, coming to the 8th chapter, there are totally 19 offenses that are not 19, sorry. There are 10 offenses. This is the 19th point. So chapter number 7 in the Nectar of Devotion. In my book, it is 59 page number. This entire book chapter is dedicated for the references, giving references. The chapter number 7. Then next, chapter number 8, it is explaining one principle, that is offenses to be avoided. What are the different offenses one has to avoid? This 20th is done. Now we'll go back to the original one. Sarita Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Here is Krishna personally present. Therefore, our duty is that we should never think of his deity as something made of stone or metal. We should always think, here is Krishna personally present. That is devotion, and we should worship him like that. We should offer respect that here is Krishna. We cannot do anything wrong. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Shri Hari Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam. Here is Krishna personally present, and therefore there is a list of offenses in the Nectar of Devotion. Do you discuss this? So we should avoid these offenses. Not that here is a stone statue, he's not going to see I am doing this offense. Then that is not very good. We should always feel that here is Krishna personally present. Srimad Bhagavatam 12.19, Dallas, March 3, 1975. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Mataji. So now comes the Nama Parada. Radha Vallavi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam. Nama Aparada, even when a person becomes an offender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, he can still be delivered simply by taking shelter of the holy names of the Lord. In other words, the chanting of Hare Krishna is beneficial for eradicating all sins. But if one becomes an offender to the holy name of the Lord, then he has no chance of being delivered. Nectar of Devotion, page 72. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So this Nama Parada is present in the chapter number 8, offenses to be avoided. You can open the text, book, chapter number 8. In the chapter number 8, there are different offenses. First, it will start with the offenses in the deity worship. So there are totally 32 offenses that is given in the Padma Purana, that is described in the Padma Purana. Somebody can read it from 1 to 32. Or okay, let me open the Veda piece.
I have the book, Prabhuji.
Yeah, yes, bro. We can see also. I'll just keep this on screen. Yes, Muralidhar Prabhu, we can start.
In the supplementary Vedic literature, there is the following list of 32 offenses in the matter of serving the Lord. 1. One should not enter the temple of the deity in a car or palanquin or with shoes on the feet. 2. One should not fail to observe the various festivals for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, such as Janmashtami and Ratha Yatra. 3. One should not avoid bowing down before the deity. 4. One should not enter the temple to worship the Lord without having washed one's hands and feet after eating. 5. One should not enter the temple in a contaminated state. According to Vedic scriptures, if someone dies in the family, the whole family becomes contaminated for some time, according to its status. For example, if the family is Brahmana, their contamination period is 12 days. Kshatriyas and Vaishyas, it is 15 days. For Shudras, it is 30 days. 6. One should not bow down on one hand. 7. One should not circumambulate in front of Krishna. The process of circumambulating the temple is that one should begin circumambulating from the deity's right-hand side of the temple and come around. Such circumambulation should be performed outside the temple structure at least 3 times daily. One should not spread his legs before the deity. One should not sit before the deity holding the ankles, elbows, or knees with one hand. One should not lie down before the deity of Krishna. One should not accept prasada before the deity. One should not speak a lie before the deity. One should not talk very loudly before the deity. One should not talk with others before the deity. One should not cry or howl before the deity. One should not quarrel or fight before the deity. One should not chastise anyone before the deity. One should not be charitable to beggars before the deity. One should not speak very harshly to others before the deity. One should not wear a fur blanket before the deity. One should not eulogize or praise anyone else before the deity. One should not speak any ill names before the deity. One should not pass air before the deity. One should not fail to worship the deity according to one's means. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that the Lord is satisfied if some devotees offers him even a leaf or a little water. This formula prescribed by the Lord is universally applicable even for the poorest man. But that does not mean that one who has sufficient means to worship the Lord very nicely should also adopt this method and try to satisfy the Lord simply by offering water and a leaf. If he has sufficient means, he should offer nice decorations, nice flowers, nice food stuff, and observe all ceremonies. It is not that one should try to satisfy the Supreme Lord with a little water and a leaf and for himself spend all his money in sense gratification. 25, one should not eat anything that is not offered first to Krishna. One should not fail to offer fresh fruit and grains to Krishna according to the season. After food has been cooked, no one should offer any food stuff unless it is first offered to the deity. One should not sit with his back towards the deity. One should not offer obeisances silently to the spiritual master, or in other words, one should recite aloud the prayers to the spiritual master while offering obeisances. One should not fail to offer some praise in the presence of the spiritual master. One should not praise himself before the spiritual master. One should not deride the demigods before the deity. This is a list of 32 offenses.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
So here, one should not offer obeisances silently to the spiritual master. One should, when we are offering obeisances to the spiritual master, it should be done visibly, it should be done loudly, so that it should be visible that we are paying obeisances to the spiritual master. That is, recite aloud. When we are offering pranam mantra, when we are offering obeisance to Srila Prabhupada, we should loudly chant the pranam mantra of Prabhupada. Jai Shri Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shwanyavadi Paschatya Deshitarine. This is the pranam mantra for Srila Prabhupada. So like that, one has to recite the obeisances pranam mantra. So Mataji has told, no, Sri Hari Priya Mataji, she told some common points. What are they, Mataji?
Prabhuji, that was among those 64. That was the point 7, 36 and 44. All were mentioning regarding residing in Mathura district or in Mathura Vrindavan or being in that periphery.
Yeah, seventh one is residing in the holy places like Dwarka or Vrindavana or near Ganga. And next one,
36.
36 is telling reciting notable prayers. No. It is in what count it is 36?
Prabhuji, those 64 in chapter 5th we did, na? 5th one.
Okay, 36 means it is minus 20. I think.
Okay, those were 20, that 10, 10, and then out of that 44, it was 56.
36 means 36 plus 20. 56,
Yes, Prabhuji.
56 means
56.
living in Mathura. Yeah, that
Yes.
is 55 incomes. Okay, anyhow. Another one,
44, 54, 64.
last one. Living
Yes,
in
Prabhuji.
the area of Mathura. Yeah, there is a small difference, Mataji. It is not exactly same.
Yeah, that is the only difference I wanted to understand. Like, how is it?
Residing in holy places like Dwaraka or Vrindavana or near Ganga, these are any holy place. The seventh one is telling.
Okay.
Nivaso Dwaraka Adauva Gangadir Api Sannidau. Any place which is spiritual. And the other one is telling living in Mathura. This is very specific.
Okay.
And the last one is living in the area of Mathura. It is not near, means it is not exactly Mathura. It is around.
Jurisdiction.
The 55th one, that is
Yeah.
very specific, Mathura. That is telling only one word, Mathura. And
Okay.
Mathura Mandale Sthitihi. Mathura Mandala means it is a greater area where the person is living. But anyhow, we are all giving the same principle.
Okay, and Prabhuji, we did one open book assignment. I think that wherever, how we make a Vrindavana out of wherever the devotee is engrossed in the devotional service, fully surrendered and committed to Lord Shri Krishna under the guidance of spiritual master, that also becomes Vrindavana or the holy place. So, like all out of all these, anyone, if possible, then that is like serving the Lord.
No, that is told like that is how actually one should live in the Vrindavan. One should, there is no need to go and reside in Vrindavana and do all the activities of what we do here. Just like I go and take a flat in Vrindavan and I find a business there and I make money and I earn and I live like how I live here. Same way I live there also. Then it
Yes.
doesn't make any difference. I had a business here. I was going to job and earning money. And there also I'm doing the same. That is not the point. One should be in the mood of Vrindavan. So even if we are being here and living in the mood of Vrindavan, it is better than just going and residing in Vrindavan and doing all karmic activities. So that is
So being there and doing only devotional service is what is desired. Like, for example, I am here currently at my place in Gurgaon. And if I am into whatever little bit I am doing, and if I go and purchase a flat and start living in Vrindavan, because that was the thought I was discussing with my husband, like going there, and if it helps in my spiritual journey, why don't we, like you mentioned, take a flat out there and keep doing the same process, but whatever little bit devotional, maybe I would visit the temple more frequently. That will become one of the probabilities. So is it, that is the point that I wanted to understand, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, but you have to take the austerity of this holy place. One should not live like other places. Living in the holy place, it is, there will be so many austerity one has to follow. See, when you are coming directly to Vrindavan, you are coming directly under the jurisdiction of Radharani. She will give a lot of tests, and it is not so easy to, when you start to live in the Vrindavan as a devotee, you will understand what is the meaning of living in Vrindavan. There will be too many tests. You have to face that, and there is a lot of purification also.
Also, Prabhuji, I thought that like when we go over the weekend, because it's 2.5 hours journey only. So when we think the process about going to Vrindavan, it's Lord Krishna. We want to visit Krishna temple, we have to go. So it is always constantly Krishna, Krishna, even through the way to the journey, when we go to reach Vrindavan, when we visit that, and then when we are contented and we come back to our home, we are still very happy. We had a very beautiful darshan. We are only talking about the Lord. But maybe while residing there, we'll become more engrossed in the material or day-to-day chores, like I have to fetch vegetables, look after the children. Maybe that thought will not be persistent.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why it's told one should live in the holy place for 3 days, unless you are the resident of that place.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, that is about the 32 Seva Aparadha, or yeah. It's very difficult to trace these numbers. I'm getting confused sometimes. Yeah, next coming 32 offenses in the deity worship that is given in Padma Purana. We have seen. Next comes the offenses in deity worship. This is the direct deity worship. There are next 42. This is from here, number 1, up to it goes up to 42. Okay, this is your direct number here, 29.
Prabhuji, my book also mentions only 29 in Vara Puran.
Yeah. Okay, now let us continue to the offenses against the chanting of the holy name. These are the most important points which we chant every day in the morning during the Mangalarati. And this has to be taken care very seriously always. Yeah, Radha Vallavi Mataji, you can read this.
Hare Krishna Prabhupada. The offenses against the chanting of the holy name are as follows. The blasphemy, to blaspheme the devotee who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. To consider the names of demigods, Lord Shiva, like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma, to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. Sometimes the atheistic class of men take it that any demigod is as good as Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. But one who is a devotee knows that no demigod, however great he may be, is independent as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, if someone thinks that he can chant Kali Kali or Durga Durga and it is same as Hare Krishna, that is the greatest offense. Third, to disobey the orders of spiritual master. Fourth, to blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature in pursuance of the Vedic version. Fifth, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imaginative. Sixth, to give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord. Seventh, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord. It should not be taken that because by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can be freed from all kinds of sinful action. One may continue to act sinfully and after that chant Hare Krishna to neutralize his sins. Such a dangerous mentality is very offensive and should be avoided. Eighth, to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna one of the auspicious ritualistic activities offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, karma kanda. Ninth, to instruct a faithful person about the glories of the holy name. Anyone can.
Faithless person.
Faithless. And to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. Anyone can take part in chanting the holy name of the Lord, but in the beginning, one should not be instructed about the transcendental potency of the Lord. Those who are too sinful cannot appreciate the transcendental glories of the Lord, and therefore it is better not to instruct them in this matter. 10th, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachment, even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Krishna Priya.
Hare Krishna. So these are about the offenses that has to be avoided. And there are some more points here. The chapter number 9, the beginning points are included in this, in today's lesson. We'll just go through it briefly. Further consideration of devotional principles. This is the point which I have explained earlier. Not tolerating blasphemy of the Lord or his devotees. Open the chapter number 9. There is a paragraph called blasphemy. This is the 20th point. Srimad Bhagavatam 10th chapter, 10th canto, chapter 76, 74 and chapter shloka number 40. It is telling this, explaining. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's aggression towards Jaga and Madhai, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to kill both of them immediately for creating trouble to Nityananda Prabhu when he was preaching. So there are 3 ways. One is defeat the blasphemer by argument, or give up this life, or leave the place. So defeat the blasphemer. This is like the example of Jiva Goswami, who defeated the arguer, and give up this life. This is example of Sati, where she gave up her life, and leave the place. This is like the Brahmanas who left the place when Shishupala was blaspheming the Lord. So these are the 3 points, but generally it is recommended just leave the place without any. One should, just by leaving that place, we are showing that we don't agree with that person, or it's wrong what he is doing. Then Tilaka and Tulasi beads, it's called Vaishnava Chinna Dharti or Dhriti. Wearing the marks of Vaishnava tilaks, that we wear the tilak at the 12 places, and wearing the Tulsi beads, tilak, and marks of conch, etc. And also wearing the syllables of name on the body. By doing so, a person is making his body as good as Vaikuntha itself. This is all explained in the second under the second heading, Tilaka and Tulasi beads. And the Yamadutas will not approach such people, and they will be guaranteed to go to Krishna Loka. Then accepting the flower garland that is offered to the Lord, that is Naimalya Dhritihi. And Krishna is telling to Uddhava, that is also explained in this here, where he is telling those people who accept this, they will not be attacked by Maya, one who is smelling the fragrance of the flower which is offered to Krishna. And he is also relieved from all kinds of sin and disease. And dancing before the deity, it will burn all the sin that we have committed, and it binds of sin will be, it will fly away. And bowing down before the deity, that is Dandavat Pranam. Then standing up to receive the Lord when the Lord is coming. If there may be a Ratha Yatra, or the Lord is going for a procession, at that time we should stand and show our respect, and one should follow. One should stand up when the deity is coming, when we are in the front, and once the deity has moved further, we should go and join from the behind and follow the deity. And going to the temple, places of pilgrimage, so these all are items of devotional service. And circumambulating the temple, that is parikrama, and archana, the worshipping of the Lord. So this much is for today. The next coming points will be discussed in the next lesson. These are the objectives of today's lesson. Overview of all 64 items, that is sadhana divisions, and discuss the difference between principle and details. We should know what is the principle and then follow the details. And its significance in the future of ISKCON. Significance of first 20 items, this we have done as a group activity, and demonstration of avoiding some of the Seva Paradas and importance of avoiding Nama Parada. Seva Parada, Nama Parada, all these things we have already discussed. Shri Hari Priya Mataji can read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam. You must see that they strictly follow the regulative principles, the 4 prohibitions, as well as the devotional practices of arising early, taking morning bath, putting on tilaka, attending Mangal Arati, chanting Japa 16 rounds, and attending Srimad Bhagavatam classes. Srila Prabhupada.
Continue.
Oh. This is the duty of all my initiated disciples, whether they are big or they are small. Actually, in our movement, there is no such thing as big or small. Everyone is a devotee. So everyone is expected to follow the devotional practices. Letter to Gopijana Vallabha Vrindavana, 19 September 1974. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. So everyone has to follow this. There is no excuse. Whatever years of practice one might have done, whether a person is a Vaidhi Sadhaka or Raganuga, everyone has to follow this to give an example to others. Even if somebody says that he is advanced devotee, he don't have to follow. It is generally the people who are even at the Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti, they will also follow all the rules and regulations of the devotional service, so that the people who are taking examples for them, they will also be able to learn. Okay, with this, we have come to the end of today's lesson. If there are any questions regarding today's discussion, you can raise your hand. Yeah, Sureshwar Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, ma'am.
Actually speaking, we have 3 different types of eligibility, which we studied in the earlier chapter. So I want to ask you from that topic only, from the earlier topic. So we studied 3 different types of eligibility: Kanishtadhikari, Madhyamadhikari, and Uttamadhikari. So according to ISKCON, the Madhyamadhikari will be preaching, isn't it?
Yes.
And if you compare Uttamadhikari with Madhyamadhikari, who is the best to preach? Or Uttamadhikari should come to the level of Madhyamadhikari? This is what I understood, but please enlighten me.
The mood of Uttamadhikari is, if you see the mood of Radharani, anybody goes to her, she will say, I am not the devotee, you are the devotee. So she will appeal to Krishna, oh Lord, please take this devotee. This is the better devotee. I am not the devotee. So everyone else, that person, Madhyamadhikari, will see as the Uttamadhikari or the greatest devotee, and I am the most fallen. That is the mood of a Uttamadhikari. In this mode, one cannot preach. One has to discriminate. Then only one can preach. In that principle, it is told that a person who is a Uttamadhikari come to the level of Madhyamadhikari for preaching. Ishwareshu tadadineshu balisheshu dishaschucha prema maitri kripa upeksha ya karoti samadhyama. That means a Madhyamadhikari, he will do 4 things. Ishwara, that means the Lord. Tadadineshu means the devotees. Ishwareshu tadadineshu balisha means ignorant person. And dvisheshu, or one who is opposing the devotional service. For these 4 people, he will do 4 things. Prema, Maitri, Kripa, Upeksha. Prema means he has the love for the Lord. Maitri, his friendship with the devotees. Kripa, that is mercy to the people who are ignorant. And Upeksha, for the person who is against the devotional service. This is the character of a Madhyama. In that sense, it is told that a Madhyamadhikari is the preacher, Uttamadhikari cannot preach in that mood. Even the person is a Madhyamadhikari, Uttamadhikari, he will act as, or he will come to the level of Madhyamadhikari.
Okay, Prabhuji. Another question. if an Uttamadhikari, see, Uttamadhikari will be, see, when you are just talking about defending a person, comparing Uttamadhikari with the Madhyamadhikari is only doing hard work, but he will not be able to defend the opposite opponent. That is what we learned. So under such conditions, Uttamadhikari will be doing it, isn't it?
Yeah, it is told a preacher is a Uttamadhikari in the mood of Madhyamadhikari.
Okay.
Has the qualities of a Uttamadhikari, but he is acting as a Madhyamadhikari because you cannot preach in that mood.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Deepti Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you, Prabhuji, for such an enlightening session. Prabhuji, in chapter 6, how to discharge devotional service, first page.
Yeah.
Sorry, not in first page, third page.
Okay.
Prabhuji, the 6th point says these are the next 44 items actually. So in this, there is one point, point number 6. As soon as one visits a temple of Lord Krishna, one must stand up. So we understand that when the procession is going on, we usually stand and we offer obeisances to the Lord, and then we join from behind. We join the procession. And whenever we visit the temple, we'll be going. I mean, when we are going, we are already in this position itself. So I was unable to understand this point.
Point number?
It helps us in explaining. Yeah. Point number 6, Prabhuji. As soon as one visits a temple of Lord Krishna, this is from the 44 items.
One must stand up.
Yes, Prabhuji. So what does this point mean, Prabhuji?
No, one should be, first one has to stand up and show respect to the Lord. Or if you are sitting, it is like, visiting means it means that you are walking.
Okay, okay. Right.
So, no, one should not be standing, one should not be sitting when some offering or some festival is going on, or some worship is going on. One should not be sitting, one should stand and show respect to the Lord.
Okay, Prabhuji, got it. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other questions? Okay, I request all of you to read this Nectar of Devotion completely, because it is a very vast book. You cannot finish reading or understanding. There are so many things. As we read more and more, our doubts gets cleared. So I request all of you to go through the chapters which we have covered today, so that we'll be able to understand the principles of Bhakti. I thank all the devotees for coming to today's session, and we'll continue in the next session, the next further continue coming chapters. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki jai, Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for a wonderful session.